We're 1 week from the CNN presidential debate, and Joe Biden is officially off the grid. The president's taking the entire week off so he can cram at Camp David. Primetime expects Biden to sling the same corny lines and hoaxes Democrats have been pushing for years. But sources tell CBS that Biden has a surprise up his sleeve.
We should expect some surprises as well, because this is such a critical performance for President Biden, not only on the content, but on his physical performance as well.
Surprise physical performance? What does that even mean? Is he going to rip his shirt off and do push-ups like RFK? What does CBS know?
Republicans should control their high hopes here, because I think Biden has performed at big events like States of the Union. They give him his debate Viagra, and he's good for, a good 30 minutes. If he's still debating after 4 hours, we'll have to call the doctors.
Trump, on the other hand, isn't taking the week off from campaigning. He's doing a rally in Philly Saturday, taking a big bite out of the Biden base. The former president says rallies are the way he does debate prep.
Is anybody going to watch the debate? He's going to be so pumped up. He's going to be pumped up. You know all that stuff that was missing about a month ago from the White House? What happened? Who left it? Somebody left it there. I wonder, let's see, somebody left a laptop in an office of a gentleman who was supposed to fix the laptop from hell. He never picked it up, and somebody didn't pick up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cocaine. I wonder who that could have been. I don't know. Actually, I think it was Joe.
Now, we know it wasn't Joe's coke, but it's funny. Trump knows that. The crowd knows that. The only one who doesn't know it is the media.
I can't even believe I have to fact check that one, I guess, if that's what you're calling it, but it was not President Biden.
What's happened in the last few months is convicted felon, more extreme statements even than ever before. I mean, this cocaine example, this is normal now for Donald Trump to throw anything out there.
Donald Trump on stage suggesting that President Biden will be on cocaine. To back up, the point I'll make here, this individual, this candidate, this convicted felon plays dirty. He plays ugly. He's done it many times in the past. We could spend the next 3.5 hours listing his lies. We wouldn't get through them. He lies like a rug.
I mean, they're fact-checking his jokes. The media doesn't see anything funny about cocaine found in the White House. Nothing funny. Or Joe's dog, Cujo, nothing funny at all. Or the president scared to dance at a Juneteenth party. That's not funny. When Trump's riffing and making the media fact-check jokes and has a positive message, that's a dangerous Donald. When's the last time we saw that kind of swagger?
Donald Trump's rhetoric even his sort of swagger looks more like 2016. The Donald Trump in Detroit and those events he did, he was oddly loose. He was trying to be funny and all of this, where from about 2017 to 2022, we had, and even 2023 through the primaries, it's been nothing but angry grievance Trump, right? Angry, angry, angry. It's interesting if he somehow drops the grievance, he could end up looking more like that 2016 candidate where he's the outside disruptor.
Trump's happy disruptor strategy is powerful. It's genuine. It's how he beat the establishment in 2016. In 2020, it was tough for him to be the fun outsider. He was the incumbent dealing with the pandemic, riots, FBI cover-ups. This year, Trump's got his swagger back. And it could be his secret to winning the swing states and even picking off a surprise.
Minnesota is a reliable Democratic state. It votes Democrat in every presidential campaign, and poll after poll, I see Trump within 2 or 3 points in Minnesota. I don't think the media understands exactly what's going on right now.
Both Democrat and Republican voters are attracted to common sense policies from a former president who doesn't wander around in fields. They miss the Trump years, their quality of life, standard of living. But CNN says voters are just forgetting how bad things were.
We talk a lot about Trump amnesia. And I hope Joe Biden reminds the American people where he found us. He found us curled up in our beds, locked up in our houses, in the middle of a pandemic when Donald Trump was telling us to inject bleach.
Right.
to cure it. And so I hope that some of this Trump amnesia that we're all suffering gets cured by Joe Biden next week.
Voters don't have Trump amnesia. They have Biden regret. And nobody's thinking about the pandemic anymore. We're thinking about groceries, gas, a tight border. But Democrats can't debate the issues, so they're going to ride out the dictator hoax.
The former president saying that he would be a dictator on day one and he would use the Department of Justice in a way to weaponize it against his political enemies. We, on the other hand, approach our work around saying that we are going to fight for freedoms.
Weaponizing the Justice Department? What we're about to show you is a timeline, and you can decide for yourself. Right before Trump announces he's running for president, Joe Biden promises he'll stop Trump from taking power.
We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power by, if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again.
And that message was heard loud and clear because 9 days later, the Democrats send in the legal kamikazes. November 18th, very important date. Garland appoints Jack Smith as special counsel on 2 different Trump cases. The same day, the 18th, Nathan Wade meets with White House lawyers for 8 hours. The same day, the 18th, the number 3 guy at Biden's Justice Department, Matt Colangelo, gives his 2-week notice to start working with Alvin Bragg. What are the chances on the same day the 4 criminal cases against Donald Trump emerge from the Biden administration and come alive? Everything we just reported is well documented, but talking about it's racist.
For a variety of reasons, that narrative makes no sense. It is factually false, and it's also dangerously and perniciously racist because it assumes that DA Alvin Bragg, who is black, could not have executed this prosecution on his own without the supervision of a bunch of white elders.
If MSNBC is calling you racist, it means you're right. But we're going to keep letting those insults roll off like water off of a duck's back. We'll keep pointing out the facts, laughing in their face, and fighting for the country.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.